In our practice exercise 15.5 mirror, we're going to write a method called mirror, and it's going to double the size of a list of integers by appending its mirror image to the original sequence of our list. So the mirror image is basically this sequence, if we look at this for an example, but in reverse order. Notice that it has been doubled in size by having the original sequence appearing in the reverse order at the end of our list. We may not make assumptions about how many characters are in the list, because adding these elements might overrun our capacity. So we need to use this method to expand our array. In the previous videos, in the playlist link below the like button, we've gone over similar methods like this. We've just multiplied the size by 2, but for this one, it wants us to make sure that the capacity is greater by using this. So let's start this method off. It's called mirror, so it's going to be a public, since we're just modifying, not returning anything. Void mirror, no parameters, and I gotta make sure I spell mirror correctly. Inside of here, what I'm going to do is a stack. And the reason why I'm going to use a stack is because if we run through this and we add all these into a stack, well, when we pull or push or pop really from our stack, we're going to be popping this value first, then this value, then this value. And so it basically makes it super easy to put it inside of here. Let's make a new stack. Stack, I'm going to have it of type integer. We'll just call it s is equal to a new stack. And that's pretty much it for our stack. We just want to now push values to the stack. Inside of here, we're going to use a for loop. So we're going to do int a is equal to 0, so we can run through our entire list. A has to be less than our current size, and then we'll just do a plus plus. So inside of here, we're going to do s.push, and then we're going to get our current value, which is the element data at the a index. So we'll close that, finish that. That's going to be pretty much it for that for loop. Now, after this, we are going to want to add these values back to our list. So before we do that, we'll say adding values. Step 1 is going to be to increase the size. So increasing the size, we're going to have to pass it to the ensureCapacity. So let's make it call to ensureCapacity. We're going to pass in, I'm not exactly sure how this works, so let's play around with it. Let's just pass in at first the value of 2. I'm hoping that just multiplies the size by 2, but if not, we'll make a change to that. And then after this, we can just do step 2, which is going to be adding into the list. So while we do this, we're going to run this while our stack still has values in it. So while our stack is not empty, we're going to want to do elements data, and then we're going to have the index at which it adds it on. Now it has to add it to the back of our list, right? How do we do that? Well, what we can do is have another integer up here. We'll call this int mid, and we're going to set it equal to our current size. So that means if our size is like 4 right here, that means if we go to index 0, 1, 2, 3, when it's time to add it to 4, we can start adding it to here. It's going to store the original size, not the double size, because this is before we increase the size. So what we're going to have is mid plus plus, and then we're going to set it equal to s.pop. So we pop off our stack, pushing it to our element data, and then just increasing this every single time. Let's run this and see if our increased size actually increases. And it does not seem to increase our size because it tells us what the size is here. Let's do size times equals 2. So size times equal to ensures the capacity adds to the list.